can be just another step toward the crown. 1984, Michigan. Cale Yarborough in the yellow car gets wrapped from behind and slams into the wall. But he came back in 84 to win IROC 8. 2 weeks ago, Cale Yarborough made this move on IndyCar veteran Rick Mears to take the race lead and then hold off all challengers. That win made Yarborough the series leader with 1 race remaining. Al Unser remembers well the whims of IROC racing. In this 1978 crash at Daytona, he was knocked unconscious, and he came back to win in IROC 5. Back at Daytona this year, the IndyCar star invaded the stock car citadel, and he held off all the opposition to win. He is in second place going into the final round. Stock car racing's Cale Yarborough versus IndyCar champion Al Unser for $150,000 today, with 5 others in position to upset the favorites. Bill Elliott is in third. Tied for 4th are Al Unser Jr., winner at Mid-Ohio, and defending IROC champion Harry Gant. Darrell Waltrip is 6th. And Bobby Rahal is 7th. Today, all 7 are capable of winning the 10th edition of the International Race of Champions. Watkins Glen, until 1948, was the work of glaciers and the work of nature which brought the summer folk to the upstate New York hamlet of 3,000. Then down Franklin Street and surging through the countryside came the racers, who have left a motoring legacy that makes this little community as recognized as Indianapolis and Daytona Beach. On a brisk and beautiful day, with sunlight hopscotching across a packed infield, welcome to Watkins Glen for the first appearance by the International Race of Champions. Hello, I'm Ken Squire. Behind me are 12 equally prepared Chevrolet IROC Z Camaros, ready to do battle over 30 laps. Right now, let's meet those 2 top contenders. They're standing by with a man who knows this track pretty well. They say he finished 2nd on this track some 21 years ago. Here's Ned Jarrett.
Well, Ken, that's what the record books say is 2nd place, but, you know, very few people remember those seconds. I had a hard time finding my way back to the racetrack. But these fellas won't have any trouble finding their way around. Cale, you lead the points going into this race. What are you going to do? Are you going to have to look over your shoulder at Al and all the rest of the guys here to see where they are during the race?
Well, I'm sure I will if I can stay there, Ned. You know, I am starting on the pole, but it's going to be very difficult to stay there with, you know, people like Al Unser and, of course, the entire field. It's going to be hard to keep them back there, I'm sure.
Now, you have won 5 of these IROC races over the years. 3 of them have come on road courses, and that's not supposed to be your long suit.
Well, no, it's really not. But, you know, I'll take them, and I'd sure love to add one more to that string today.
Well, he'll certainly be trying to do that, and Al Unser Sr. will be trying to keep him from it. Al, your son, Al Jr., jumped Bobby Rahal on the start of the race at Mid-Ohio, the only other road course this year. Are you going to try to do the same for Cale?
Well, I'd like to, but I don't think he'll let me. I think that he has the other way around. I think he's going to, you know, be hard to pass.
Is it difficult to pass on this track?
Yes, it is. It's going to be difficult. This is one of these courses, like Mid-Ohio, that when we run there, that if everything's working your way, they're going to have a hard time getting around you.
Well, this is going to be one more interesting race, Ken.
Joining me in the booth today will be the old editor of the National Speed Sport News, Chris Economaki. But right now, he's trackside with 2 other top stars, one of whom had his difficulties with the Winston Cup car yesterday. It was 169 miles per hour. Plus, when going down into what we will call turn 4, Bill Elliott just had problems. Danced off the track, went across this grass, hit this barrier, jumped over the barrier, landed in the cyclone fence on the other side. He really took a hit. That car they're repairing for tomorrow's race, and he is standing by with Chris Economaki along with the defending IROC champion Harry Gant.
Bill, that was some ride you took yesterday over the fence and out. I spoke with your wife a little bit ago, and I said, how's he doing? She says, well, he's troubled. He's not himself. Is that going to affect your drive in today's IROC race?
I don't think none whatsoever. You know, I just probably carried in a little bit too deep yesterday, but, you know, today's another race. There's a lot of good cars out here. You know, we're going to come out here and try to win the race.
Well, hope you have a good day. Harry Gant here is a champion. Harry, a year ago today, you went into the lineup at IROC 9 at Michigan Speedway, 8th in the point standings. And when it was all over, you came out champion. But the conditions were different. That was an oval track, home, so to speak, for you. Here it's a road course, but you're 4th in the standings. How are you going to play it all?
Well, we got to get out there and go. You know, we were real fortunate in Michigan to be able to come in there and win the championship, and we still got a chance this time, so we're not marking it off yet.
Okay, a confident champion. Back to you, Ken.
It's a 2.4-mile course, rigorous test here, and for our purposes, we'll call it 6 turns. And right now, let's have one of the masters of American racing take you around it. Here's Darrell Waltrip.
I'm going to try to take you around the racetrack one lap. You start down the little front straightaway here in front of the pits, and you go about halfway down that straightaway, you're back in high gear. At 300 feet, you hit 3rd gear. You go a little further to 100 feet, and you hit 2nd gear. Now, you're in 2nd gear, hard on the brakes, making a really, really difficult right-hand turn. You can get in a lot of trouble in turn 1. Now you're winding up in 2nd gear. You're coming down the hill. You hit 3rd gear at the bottom of the hill at the beginning of the S's, which is turn 2. You start up the next grade, which is going to turn 3. You hit 4th gear. From there, onto the back straightaway, you're wide open in 4th gear. Turn 4 is a big loop. You go in hard. Hit 3rd gear, on the brakes hard, wheel hop, car wants to bounce a little, gets in a little bit of trouble here, you can. You're still in 3rd gear, you pick up speed, you come down the short chute just before you get to the bridge, 4th gear. Over the bridge, 3rd gear, hard brake, left-hander, only one on the course, only one I like. Getting through the left-hander is critical because it sets you up for turn 6, the final turn. Pick that right wheel up, still in 3rd gear, back on the front straightaway one more time. That's the way I do it. I haven't won anything here yet, though.
Stand by for wide open action. Total purse, $573,000. You'll meet the stars of the final round of IROC 10 in a moment.
This CBS Sports Special, the International Race of Champions, is sponsored by today's Chevrolet, who invite you to live the style, performance, and fun of Chevrolet in '86. Goodyear Eagle high-performance radial tires. You either have Goodyear Eagles or you need them. And by Budweiser, Beechwood aged for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you.
Limited points through 3 races. Here's the starting lineup for the 1986 finale in the International Race of Champions. On the pole, our series leader, 1984 IROC champion, 3-time NASCAR title holder from Timmonsville, South Carolina, Cale Yarborough. Post position number 2, 1978 IROC champion, 3-time Indy 500 winner from Albuquerque, New Mexico, Al Unser. Row 2 from Dawsonville, Georgia, looking to become the 2nd straight IROC rookie champion, Bill Elliott. Starting 4th in the standings and on the grid, the youngest race winner in IROC history, 24-year-old Al Unser Jr. In row 3, defending IROC champion, the man who came from 8th to win in the finale last year, Harry Gant. Starting beside him, the man Gant beat in that unprecedented tiebreaker, 3-time NASCAR champion, Darrell Waltrip. In row 4, the 1986 Indy 500 winner, already winning some $800,000 this year, Dublin, Ohio's Bobby Rahal. Starting 8th, the former Grand Prix Formula One star, West Germany's Jochen Mass. In row 5, 9th starting position, Hans Stuck, defending World Endurance champion. In the 10th position, 2-time IMSA champion, rookie IROC performer, Florida's Hurley Haywood. In row 6, Rick Mears, 2-time Indy 500 champion out of Bakersfield, California. And starting 12th, the 3-time Le Mans winner, Klaus Ludwig. The field is in the final preliminary lap to the commencement of this 30-lap competition to decide it all. And Chris, I've been coming here a lot of years since they raced on Franklin Street back in the late 40s. I've never seen a crowd like this at Watkins Glen.
You know, it's Saturday, Ken, and it's remarkable that this is without question the largest crowd in Watkins Glen's long history, and that includes World Championship Formula One racing.
There you see them through turn 2, uphill, what used to be the old Schefter chicane now has gone away. That's turn 3. Long straightaway here. Let's take a look at the point breakdown. That's the number of points they get in each of the 4 events. And we are at number 4 today. 21 points to win it, 17 points for second on, back down to 3 points for 12th. Remember, there is a 5-point differential between first and second, and there is a 5-point bonus for leading the most laps in this event. In-car cameras. You're riding with Al Unser right up there in the front row as he tries to get a little more warmth into those Goodyear radial tires on that car. Now he's looking out the back at the other 10 contenders behind the front row here. Now our second in-car camera is with a man who came from 8th last year to win it all. You remember him, Harry Gant. There he is with our second camera in his car. We'll be able to watch his style on this track as he attacks. And finally, the third camera rides with Hurley Haywood. Now, Haywood has several victories here at Watkins Glen. He's a top road racer, and he's sequestered in the back of the field. He'll be making a tremendous charge to try and pull himself through this race.
Okay, the cars are equipped with motorcycle mirrors on the side for the first time, Ken. The driver said they wanted to be able to see who was coming up from behind. They said it was a safety measure. Frankly, I think it's going to be used to block some of these guys who want to pass. There's so much money at stake here and so much prestige involved in this series. Winning is very, very important.
Now here they come for that stout left-hander. That's the one the stock car drivers like the most, and the only one they like. They're the past champions. The late Mark Donahue winning in 74. Bobby Unser of the great Unser family in 75. A.J., the only man to win it twice, and you see on down the line to Cale in 84, Harry Gant in 85. Here they are around this very tight, difficult turn, third gear here. Coming down, green flag about to come out as they come down this 1,800 foot straightaway, leading to turn number 1, and they're 3 wide as they head for turn 1. Real battle on.
A drag race into that turn 1, which is really a one-lane corner.
And Cale in the blue car on the inside. That's Al Unser Sr. on the outside, and it looks like Unser may outdrag. They're still even. Going to turn 2 now. Unser pops out in front.
And he pulls Bill Elliott with him, Ken.
Elliott going up into second place. Now they come up the old turn 3, long straightaway here. And it was here at the fastest part of the course. High gear. That better than 169 mile an hour trap speed. Look at this move on the inside. That's trying to roll back into this race from Charbonne. He's being challenged on the inside.
This is a tough corner, Ken. That's really hard to see, and it's a little bit bumpy. And Al Unser has really shown how to do it at the start here. The IndyCar veteran who was the winner of the opening round at the Daytona International Speedway.
Beautiful pictures as they roll down through another one of these straightaways that gets them into third gear. They don't get into high right there. Now here they come around to complete the first lap, headed for turn 6. Well, you really got to be right here, and if you are right here, it's worth about 300 RPM going back to turn 1. All right, coming by to complete the first lap. Unser first, Elliott second, Al Unser Jr. up into third. Waldrop is in fourth, and sliding back is Yarborough. Yarborough now back in 5th, and he's being challenged once again. Yarborough falling further back.
Well, but Harry Gant got off in the dirt on that opening lap. Ken, he's back in 10th place, so he's got some going to do.
Unser can win it all and become the second man to win the International Race of Champions 2 times if he can stay right where he is. Bill Elliott finds himself in second place. Unser Jr., who gave his dad a tremendous battle in the opening go, then went to mid-Ohio and led flag to flag. He's in that yellow car right there in third. Then Waldrop in fourth right there. And Ray Hall's on the move. He's pulled into 5th as Cale Yarborough continues to fall back. All right, stock car giant Elliott tagging along, perched on the rear bumper of Al Unser's car. There's Elliott right there in the white, number 1.
That's a great shot. You can see the line that Al Unser's taking. He's on the inside of the track there. He moves across the raceway. Al has been driving for so long. He knows how to adapt so well. He's very smooth. Al Unser's the kind of a driver that wants the car to do everything it's working and capable of doing, and then he extracts from it its full potential.
And one of the best road racers in the business of stock car racing, the white number 1 of Elliott. He's done some IMSA racing and really carried his colors well, running in second place. As far as I'm concerned, Elliott this year will win the Calvin Coolidge Award for shortest statements after his terrible crash yesterday over the barrier into the cyclone fence. They asked him about it, and he said, I didn't much like it.
Well, he does his talking at the wheel, Ken, and He's right there behind Al Unser. Klaus Ludwig, 12th is up to 7th in 2 laps. Now, Ludwig is a veteran here at Watkins Glen, so he may well be a factor before the checkered flag waves today.
Remember, $150,000 for first, $75,000 for second, $50,000 for third place. There you see Waltrip lying 4th in the silver car. 2 challengers taking a very low 9. Unser Jr. out just a little as they come into turn 4. Downhill now.
Elliott went a little bit wide in that corner. He's probably feeling out a new line. He wants to come off with more RPMs to maybe take a run at leader Unser.
$573,000 at stake as they come around this time in this beautiful Watkins Glen course. Actually, it's a very tight course with these many barriers, as most what we saw in Mid-Ohio.
Well, they raced in Mid-Ohio and they raced in Riverside, and at first they thought it would be easy, and they now say it's much tougher than any other of the road courses they've been on. The braking applications are severe, despite only requiring 6 gear changes in the course of a lap.
Waltrip in 4th, Ray Hall in the 5th position. Jochen Moss is in 6th. Hans Stuck coming up into 7th place now. As you follow the leaders downhill through turn number 1. Dramatic corner, that turn 1. And there you see part of the congregation that has come to Watkins Glen, New York to see this International Race of Champions. More in a moment. 12 miles of the 30 laps to be run. There are the standings with Unser up in front, Elliott in 2nd, Al Unser Jr. in 3rd. There's the back of the pack incident just moments ago. Let's take a look at it from a couple of different angles as there was a skirmish coming down that hill to that big looping turn. Here are the leaders. Unser still being challenged by the Elliott car. Now let's take a look at what happened moments ago.
Okay, coming off the turn leading in the short stretch, a couple of cars got together. Harry Gant on the left-hand side, and Klaus Ludwig in the dark blue car wound up. Let's take a look now. That's Harry Gant punching the guardrail on the inside and coming back on the circuit. I think we have a view of this. Here's Harry Gant now in the car. Watch him correct. The car's starting to spin. He's obviously been hit. He's correcting, trying to keep the car off the guardrail. There he nudges the guardrail. You feel he reaches for the gear shift lever now to get back and to get Rick Mears whipped by. And Harry Gant is back on the track, but hopelessly in arrears with just slight right front fender damage.
There was a car on the inside of Gant that had the problem. Now here's Gant from inside of his automobile. And we're back with you once again. The actual race count. The series ended right now. We're going to stop at this particular moment. Then with Al Unser out in front, he would take home the championship.
But it doesn't end now, Ken, and there's a lot of racing to go. There he'd have 69 points. Elliott's 57.
Cale Yarborough with 56. Yarborough a factor, but his car went backward almost from the very moment this race started. Elliott stays right there, driving magnificently against the great veteran Unser Sr.
You know, that skirmish could have put some gravel out on the racetrack. Someone, if they go out of the groove, may have some trouble here. Al Unser Jr. seems to take a look at inside of Phil Elliott. He may be possibly conjuring up something to hook onto his father's back bumper.
7 laps complete. Here's Hurley Haywood making a charge. Haywood pulling alongside, trying to move up and not getting through. Good effort by Hurley Haywood. Notice on the back of these cars, you see where there should be tail lights, but there aren't, and that's a story unto itself.
That's right. The Europeans say that this is a disadvantage for them. The drivers of Porsches and BMWs and Ferraris all have accustomed to tail lights being, or stoplights, when the car in front is the brakes are on it, the lights flash. Well, there are no lights on these modified Camaros, and they don't know when the driver in front of them is going to apply the brakes, and they feel that's tough on their technique. They're used to seeing the light.
Hans Stuck's major complaint. The Cale Yarborough car running directly in front of Hurley Haywood. He's been backing up, as we mentioned, and now he seems to have found a bite. He's going along about his business, but Yarborough is being shown in the 7th position, with the 8th position belonging to Hurley Haywood.
You know, all series long, Ken, there's been great praise for the cars being evenly matched, and they have been evenly matched. And I think what we're seeing here today is the drivers making the difference.
Well, I wonder about that in the Yarborough instance because, you know, of those 5 races, 3 of them he won on road courses, and he's a good road racer. He got a lot of experience, and that just didn't look like Cale to me. Now look at Unser beginning to draw away. Meanwhile, here's Hurley Haywood attacking on Cale Yarborough. Now, this is one corner that Haywood probably knows as well or better than anyone else in the race. We should mention, too, the Indianapolis car people, of course, were here in 79, 80, and 81. Mears did very well, and Unser Sr. set on the pole a couple of times, 79 and 80.
Speaking of mirrors, Ken, in qualifying for the Michigan 500 a week ago, he set a new American Speedway qualifying record of over 220 miles an hour at Michigan International Speedway, which is really sizzling.
Working the ninth lap, you're watching Unser trying to draw away and doing so. Downhill, wide open, third gear. In second place, the white car. It's Bill Elliott from Dawsonville, Georgia, the stock car champion. And right behind those two, in the yellow car, Al Unser Jr., just 24 years old, youngest winner in IROC history. Waltrip is back there in the 5th position. And running 6 has been Hans Stuck, 7th Yarborough, 8th the Hurley Haywood car, and 9th Jochen.
The average now is over 110 miles an hour. The last lap being turned at 110.45. And I wonder, Ken, if Elliott hadn't had that skirmish with the guardrail yesterday, would he be further ahead?
They come down by the pit area, cross the start-finish line. Bobby Rahal at the present time in this race, having his troubles. He's holding on to 5th. He thought he was going to get a good grip and come out charging here. We asked him earlier if you could drive defensively on this track. Here's what Rahal said.
It's going to be tough because the straightaway is fairly long. If someone's got a little better motor than you do, they should be able to get by you there. Certainly in the corners, there's really only one lane, like any road race track, I suppose. But and, you know, again, you know, in a race, you find there are more places to pass than you thought of prior to the race, and this same goes for blocking. Sometimes a little Camaro that's only about 8 feet wide can be 30 feet wide with the right guy driving it.
Bobby Rahal, we can get it done. 1986, Indianapolis 500-mile winner, the dark blue car running in 5th. Al Unser just as smooth and graceful. You know, you wonder how it can keep happening in one family. Bobby Unser, the great champion, and then Al Unser Jr., Louis Unser years ago. To me, the whole key on those Unsers is incredible discipline. They always seem so relaxed and so easygoing. When it comes to motor racing, the thing they do so well, they have incredible mental discipline. Look at Unser draw away here on Elliott, running in 2nd spot, the white car. Al Unser Jr. still 3rd, looking back, and the range continues to get wider between Al Unser of Albuquerque, New Mexico, and Dawsonville, Georgia's Bill Elliott, as a record crowd at Watkins Glen watches the action this Saturday afternoon. More in a moment. 11 laps are now complete here in the 4th and final round of IROC 10, 1986. Unser in front, but Chris, what a battle for 2nd place. The yellow car, Al Unser Jr. closing up on Elliott. He's put on a couple of counter strokes to try to move by. He's had to settle back into 3rd position. He looks like he wants it.
Well, young Al is a very aggressive driver, and he's putting the heat on Bill Elliott there in 2nd place. That's where all the eyes are on. Right now, the leader, Al Unser, has slowed just a little bit. His last lap speed is 109.9. That's down exactly a half a mile an hour. The interesting thing is that car, Ken, does not have a good track record this year in IROC. It was 10th in Mid-Ohio with Yarborough driving, and 11th at Talladega with Haywood driving, and here it is running away at Watkins Glen.
There's that 2nd place battle. Those tires are the key issue. The whole field has come back, not just the leader, but all of them have retarded the spark a little at this point in the race. Not willing to gamble on having those tires get too far off when they get to those final 10 laps. I think they're all willing to settle back for the moment, save the rubber, and be ready for the charge at the end.
Well, there's Al Unser dirt tracking it a little bit. Well, the drivers are very concerned at all the turns here but one, because here's an Al looking out the back of his car. Every corner has guardrails outside and inside, except turn 1, which has no outside guardrail. So if you lose it there, you go out in the grass, gather it up, and keep going. And that's where Al Unser Jr. has been putting the pressure on Bill Elliott.
Now notice in the straightaway shot, as it began, you saw that Unser had a big advantage. It was closed up a little. That 2-car draft at the fastest part of the track is allowed to get in there. Notice how Unser is shuffling a lot here. That car is wearing its rubber down, and I would say at a pretty good rate.
Well, it also could be the brakes are not as effective now as they were at the beginning of the race. Tremendously fierce brake applications required to get slowed down for these sharp turns.
Now, right here on this corner, earlier was where the yellow car of Al Unser Jr. tried to make a move under Bill Elliott. Elliott was able to recoup and stay in 2nd position. Unser Sr. stays in that front running spot. Down across the start-finish line, another lap complete. And that corner there in my estimation, is the most critical turn here. If you come out of it right, now look at the yellow car of Unser Jr. coming to the inside on Elliott. You hit this turn 1, and you can have as much as 200 RPM additional. That'll really help you on one of the major passing areas of this track.
You know, a calculated nudge by Al Unser Jr. Bill Elliott's right there in front of him, could send him spinning off in the grass and put him off in second place. And it's going to be what will happen before this day is out.
Here's Hurley Haywood challenging Cale Yarborough another time. Haywood up on Yarborough. As you watch the battle, that is now for 9th position as Ludwig and Stuckett both move by Yarborough and Haywood. Yarborough 9th, Haywood 10th, and that battle continuing through turn 2, up the hill, through the S's.
You know, it's interesting, we talk about the identically prepared cars. That same move by Haywood on Yarborough has been tried several times before in the same play. Al Unser's lead now 2 2/10 seconds over Bill Elliott.
And that leader looks like that car is doing a little slipping, a little sliding, and it may be slip sliding away this afternoon from Unser. Unser running in the 1st and in the 3rd position. The Unsers running incredibly here in this race, in the entire series and in the entire year. Why do the Unsers run so well?
We love racing. Racing's been good to us. We all work at it very hardly, and you know, I think a guy trains himself, and I wished I could say what the reason for the Unsers doing so well in racing, because then I could maybe sell it, and I wouldn't have to race.
I don't think there'd ever be a day when Al Unser didn't want to race. Here he is out in front and continuing to blaze away from the field, using up some rubber on that car, but taking that gamble as he stays out in front of Bill Elliott in the 2nd spot and Al Unser Jr. in 3rd. We'll return with more of the International Race of Champions after this message and a word from your local station.
Car 2.
Here the yellow car is now in front. Elliott has come back to 2nd. What happened to Unser Sr.? Major incident on the final turn. Here's the story from Ned Jarrett.
Ken, he said he just simply got a little too wide and lost the car. Slammed into the guardrail, did a lot of damage to the rear end of the car. That could be a major portion of $150,000 gone down the drain for Al Unser Sr. He lost at least 1 lap while they made repairs to his Camaro.
Ned, I think he's lost 2. How severe was the damage? I saw them working on the bottom end of the car.
It was primarily cosmetic damage. That we didn't see any damage to the frame or any of the running parts of the car. But they had to tape up the rear window. It was bursted apart, and most of the sheet metal was gone from the right rear quarter panel.
Thank you, Ned. Let's take a look from the in-car camera, Chris, at exactly what happened here at this very critical turn. You're with Al Unser Sr. He was leading. That's the amount of advantage he had over the 2nd place man, Elliott, at the time.
But he had lost a half a second to his pursuers in the last 2 laps. Now he goes through the corner, and you can see the scenario. The car is turning around, then hits the guardrail. The rear spoiler comes off. He jams it. The first thing Al Unser did was put it in the air to get it away from the other car, get it off the track. Now here comes the Sun pass for the lead.
You see the number 1, Elliott, for a moment had the lead. Then down to the inside comes car number 6 in this tremendous battle taking place at turn 4. And it's Unser on the inside, Elliott on the outside. And Unser is just broken down on the course. Unser is just broken down at the top of the hill as he went into that long straightaway, and he has spun around, I think. Which way? Yeah, we're looking back down the track. Yep. He's trying to get it off the track here. So something is truly amiss on that car, and there's no hope for Unser to come out here and win his 2nd IROC title, trying to get the car righted. Meanwhile, the story's up in front as 4 cars come into contention, completing another lap. The yellow car, Al Unser Jr., stays front. The white car in 2nd place is the Elliott machine at turn number 1. Here you see them headed for turn 2. And there's Unser dragging the remains home.
That ever the walking wounded. He'll be headed for the pits again if some of that stuff could fall off. And the leader's speed has fallen off more than a full mile an hour.
Dragging himself down that long straightaway. Al Unser, who looked like he was on his way to a top position finish. That is not to be for Unser. Apparently he'll try to bring it in this time, and there's still more damage and more pieces dragging off the back of this car.
Well, you know, there's Al Unser that Camaro.
Watch right here. Watch right here, Chris. We may see him have trouble again as he comes up through here. He's whacked that machine again. It just gets out, and now he takes the other side apart. All in all, not a good day for the Unser Senior contingent. But Al Jr. stays right here, battling at this time with car number 1 Elliott and leading by 5 or 6 car lengths. Black flag, they say, is out on Unser Senior.
I would think so. I think it'd be hard to get Al to continue on today with that car.
There you see him. He's on the outside of the track at turn 6, Chris. That's right at the entrance to the pits, coming back down here to turn 1. Now he comes across the track and comes into the pit area. The leader, Unser Jr., 24 years old. He could become the youngest man to win it all. Elliott with a very good chance here today as well. What a battle they're having. We'll check the points for you between those two. 21 laps are complete, working the 22nd by this time, and there will be 8 to go. Unser isn't giving up.
You can see how hard a hit he gave it for the way that tubing is bent on the car.
Leader Unser Jr. into second. Elliott up to third. Comes Waltrip. Now Waltrip has led time after time going into the last race in the total standings, but he's never won the series. Now here he lies in third. Let's see what happens.
Well, if it finishes now, Little Al will be the winner with 62 points, with Elliott second with 59 points.
Let's go to Ned Jarrett.
Standing by with Al Unser Sr., who has crawled out of the car. Al, tough break out there. What did go wrong?
It all of a sudden got loose. I don't know if I cut a tire or what. It just spun with me, and then after I hit the fence, and then it was off. Then
The damage was just too much to continue?
I spun it again.
Oh, okay. Well, your son's leading out there right now, Al Jr., so I know you're proud of that.
That I am. I hope he wins it.
Okay, well, again, Ken, he has just seen what could have been $150,000 in his pocket go down the drain.
Thanks, Ned.
General Waltrip seems to be closing up a little bit on Bill Elliott here as the race gets closer and closer to the checkered flag. But it's interesting that the speeds, which were over 110 miles an hour per lap at the beginning, have now dropped to almost 109 even, a little bit more than a mile an hour. So the wear and tear is taking its toll both on the drivers and the tires.
Young Unser has learned well from his father. He really used sparingly of that equipment. He uses what he has to win, and he leaves the rest for later in case he needs it. There's Elliott second, Waltrip third, Ray Hall up to fourth in those standings.
You know, this will be the year, Ken, of the Indianapolis drivers here in IROC. It's been a stock car problem for so long, and now the IndyCar drivers are doing very, very well this year.
And note, too, that Klaus Ludwig is up into the 5th position. Harry Gant's car, running back in the 11th spot, is now pitting. Gant is on pit road with car number 5. He may have cut a tire down. And I am sure, I'm convinced in my own mind, that's what happened. You said that he was really having trouble. Unser Sr. earlier up there in that previous corner, then it went away. Now with Gant in the pits, we watch him just resting for a moment.
Well, that skirmish early in the race could have brought some debris out there. These tires, as great as they are quite thin, and they can't stand any debris.
On this Saturday afternoon, you're watching Harry Gant get back into it, and up in front, 24-year-old Al Unser Jr. stays in front of stock car great Bill Elliott and the 3-time Winston Cup champion Darrell Waltrip. Here comes Gant back on the track, the defending IROC champion who came from 8th to win it a year ago in the last race. We are at the last race today.
He was in the pits for only 20 seconds. The boys and the crew are doing a good job down there.
There's Bill Elliott, the white car. He's running in that 2nd position and trying to close in on the leader, Unser, and he's picked up a little ground once again. He can't wait for Waltrip to catch him, and yet if Waltrip could collect him in the 2-car draft, that could make it very interesting. 23 laps of 30 are now complete here at Watkins Glen, New York on this lovely Saturday afternoon in August, watching the IROC 10 finale. Space is just about equal between 1st and 2nd, 2nd and 3rd. Unser Jr. for the Indianapolis car rank stays in front. And if the series ended right now, Al Unser Jr. would take it all with some 62 points. Bill Elliott would finish in 2nd with 59 points. Cale Yarborough would wind up 3rd at 56, and Unser Sr. at 51, but that may change before this day is done. 24 laps are now complete of 30. We'll be back with more from Watkins Glen after this IROC flashback. '85, Michigan International Speedway. Harry Gant, who had started in 8th, battled to the front and then hammered it out in the final lap with Terry Labonte for the race win. Gant pulled even, then surges down the straightaway to a 6-foot victory and the series championship over Darrell Waltrip. Race 4, the finale. Al Unser Jr. stays in front. Darrell Waltrip, who may have been saving his brakes, saving the tires a bit, is trying to close on the second place man, Bill Elliott. There you see the sandwich. The yellow car out in front, Unser, then Elliott, then Waltrip. The fourth place man on the field is Bobby Rahal, and then it's about 2.5 seconds back to Klaus Ludwig in the next position. Right now, as we watch this battle continue up in front, let's go back to the pits. Here's Ned Jarrett.
Well, Ken, let's update you on the 2 pit stops by Harry Gant. They changed the right side tires first. There was nothing wrong with those tires. They came back in and changed the left side tires. They were okay, too. He thought he had a tire going down. But wandering around in the pit, we found Daytona 500 winner Jeff Bodine sitting here in the backup Camaro. Jeff, what's going on here?
Well, I'm just trying to get fitted up for one of these IROC Camaros. I'd like to be in one.
Maybe you can be next year. Now, the NASCAR drivers, some of them are doing pretty well, but some not so well. You grew up in this area here at Watkins Glen. What would you advise the drivers to be doing next?
Well, they really need to be waving at some of my fans down that back straightaway, but if they had me out there in this thing chasing me, they'd be doing a lot better.
Maybe we can get them to give you the key.
I hope so. If I had it, I'd get out there.
Okay, he's anxious to go, Ken, and maybe after winning the Daytona 500, he just might get that shot.
Moving in, Bill Elliott on the charge. Another Daytona 500 winner. He's closing up on Unser Jr.
Jochen Moss, who had moved to 5th place, just made a pit stop for tires. His right rear corner, he's the 3rd car in the picture right now, is dropped out of the 5th position.
And moving up is Ludwig into 5th. Yarborough is to 6th. Hurley Haywood to 7th. Hans Stuck in 8th. Rick Mears is 9th. Moss back there in 10th. And Unser down a lap or 2. And look at this battle for the lead as we get down to decide it all today. IROC 10. And it's one of the two of the young lions, one of the very best from the world of Indianapolis car racing. Young Al Unser Jr. is in front and closing up all the time. Bill Elliott, the stock car giant who won 11 Winston Cup races in 1985, right there now, just 3 car lengths away.
That's amazing. Elliott has really moved in there, and with 3 laps to go, I'm sure he's got something up his sleeve.
Waltrip's effort falling back further now, but he has a pretty comforting position. He's got several seconds on the man back behind him, Bobby Rahal. What's the best place to pass? That's the question for Bill Elliott right now.
Well, there's several pretty good places to pass. If you can get out, slingshot by them down the back straightaway, but once you get through the turn there and get the back straightaway, maybe through the but there are several good key places to pass here if you get the right position.
Let's see if they're going to be in the right position here, Chris.
Well, you know, Elliott's got quite a record. He was 3rd at Daytona, 4th at Mid-Ohio, and 3rd at Talladega. He's never been below 4th in any of the 3 previous IROC races. And he's up here in 2nd place. It may be his day to win.
That last critical corner right here. Let's see how he'll take it. Turn 1, a perfect place to pass if you have the RPMs built up. Laps running down, coming back to the line with a couple to go this time across the stripe. Unser Jr. stays in front.
Unser's lap speed has dropped to 108.59 miles an hour. It's down almost 1.5 miles from the speed set by his father early in the race.
Driving defensively here, trying to save as much of the car as he possibly can, trying to contain Bill Elliott in the 2nd position. The NASCAR racers go on to Michigan next weekend. The IMSA cars move to Elkhart Lake coming up. And, of course, the kart folks get ready for Pocono, Pennsylvania. And Hans Stuck, he goes back to Germany to get married next weekend. Here they are, top 3. Then a big interval back to Rahal in 4th and a wider interval to Ludwig in 5th. Elliott can win the series 63 to 58. If Junior wins is the latest note we're getting.
If he passes Al Jr., the title is his.
Here they are. Straightaway area, 3rd gear. You may pull 4th gear in these 3,300-pound cars. The heavier stock cars, which are back here in Watkins Glen as well this weekend, run this area in 3rd gear for the most part and crank them up to about 8,700 RPM. They don't get that kind of RPM ride out of these Camaros, which instead of going all-out speed, they try to go for equality. Time running out. Last lap. And in front, Unser Jr. Right there, Elliott.
Al Unser Jr. is going to be undefeated in IROC road racing competition if he pulls this one off.
That's right. He won at Mid-Ohio. Yeah. Here he is around turn 2, coming up the hill. Al Unser Jr. out in front. Elliott in that second position.
Oh, getting a run on him.
And as you come up that hill, you just keep your foot down and keep gaining speed all the way up. All right, Elliott is there. Here they come to that very critical turn. Out to the outside comes Elliott. This is going to be a braking contest right here. Down they come, downhill. It's Unser Jr. on the inside. Elliott is on the outside in the white car. They're still side by side. Here they come for that next corner, and Unser gets the block. Now to the other side, moves the Elliott machine, number 1. Tremendous finish here in IROC. Great road racing.
What a try by you. The outside pass, the most difficult kind of pass in all of automobile racing, was almost pulled off by Bill Elliott there. It's not over yet. There's a right-hander coming up before they head for the start-finish strike.
And that track fell away in that area where Elliott laid it on the line. Last turn, last shot. Here they come to the line. Give the win to car of Al Unser Jr., number 6. Elliott comes across in second. Waltrip will come home in third. And Bobby Rahal will wind up this 4th race in 4th. Let's take a look at that critical move on that sweeping downhill negative camber corner where Elliott gave such a great performance. Now we're going to look at turn 6. Here they are coming out of turn 6. There's the move. Elliott trying way wide, gets out of the grass, loses a bite there. What I'd like to see is that tremendous battle coming through turn 4 downhill. The performance there by Unser Jr. and by Elliott simply outstanding. We'll get back to that in a moment, and we'll meet the winner, Al Unser Jr., after we pause for these messages. Al Unser Jr. with a tremendous drive here at Watkins Glen. New York, it is a celebration of youth in IROC 10 as 24-year-old Al Unser Jr. is pulling into victory lane after an incredible performance in the very last lap as he was challenged by Bill Elliott in the white number 1 right at the same turn. Worked better than 170 miles per hour yesterday. Elliott had a terrible crash. Elliott rim riding, going up on the high side here. Unser just holding his line, not being intimidated, and making his way from there down to the checkered flag and on into victory lane, where he is standing by with Ned Jarrett.
Well, we're standing in victory lane with Al Unser Jr., who not only won the battle here today, but he won the war as well. $150,000. Congratulations.
Thank you, Ned. I tell you, it's super day. I never had really a lot of luck at the Glen, and going into the race, we knew we were going to have to work real hard, and sure enough, this is great, you know.
Well, Elliott tried to make a pass on the outside on the last lap.
Yeah, well, I knew he was going to take a run at me because my tires were going off real bad, and so I just was going to come out on that backstretch, and there was no way I was going to go to the left-hand side of the track. So we just stayed to the right, and he could try all day long on the outside. I didn't care.
Well, Ken, that's what you call good defensive driving.
So Al Unser Jr. comes home victorious in his first try in the International Race of Champions. Chris, a thought from you.
Well, I think that the racing today was outstanding. The drivers are right on the edge. You're showing when a little thing happened, Al Unser spun out. They really are on the limit all day.
Let's go to Ned Jarrett, now standing by with Bill Elliott.
Well, Bill Elliott came home second in the race and in the series. Bill, you made a gallant effort on that last lap, but couldn't quite pull it off.
No, I knew he kept guarding the right-hand side of the racetrack. I knew the only shot I had was on the outside. Maybe if I could stay side by side with him up that next chute and go in that next left-hander, I'd have him, but it just didn't work out that way.
If you'd have been in front, you'd have probably done the same thing he did.
Well, I wouldn't doubt it.
Well, congratulations on a fine series.
Thank you, Ned.
In the ancient land of Lake Seneca here in New York State, Al Unser Jr. has come to victory as we take a look at the race standings. Elliott second, Waltrip third, Rahal fourth. Klaus Ludwig came up to fifth. There are the rest of the standings. Let's take a look at the overall series standings for IROC 10. Chris?
Well, it was Al Unser Jr. The Unsers won 3 of the 4 this year, and I think the race itself, though, was interesting. And Al Unser showed himself to be a class driver in that last lap, giving Bill Elliott all the room he needed for that bold try.
Al finished 11th in round 1 at Daytona and came back in the same car on this August 9th to win the race and the series and $164,000. Our thanks to Les Richter, Jay Signori, and Mike Phelps of the International Race of Champions. Al Unser wins IROC 10.
This CBS Sports Special, the International Race of Champions, has been sponsored by today's Chevrolet, who invite you to live the style, performance, and fun of Chevrolet in '86. Mr. Goodwrench. No one knows your GM car better than Mr. Goodwrench. No one. And by True Value Hardware Stores. The more you got to do, the more you need True Value. We've got what it takes.
Tomorrow, the NFL kicks off on CBS Sports with a special, The Armchair Quarterback, followed by the Los Angeles Raiders returning to the Bay Area to face the San Francisco 49ers. That's all tomorrow on CBS Sports, beginning at 2 o'clock Eastern. I'm Ken Squire. The 1986 International Race of Champions is a presentation of CBS Sports.